So the position battle for starting nickel is heating up because guess what? Dee Alford had a better game than Billy Bowman Jr., bro. And we're gonna get into what happened, but I'm not saying Billy Bowman Jr. had a bad game. I'm just telling y'all what I found based off of my grading. And if you watch the first video, you know how the grading goes. So I'm not gonna hold y'all up too long. We're gonna get into this. I'm gonna give y'all the scores and basically how I graded everything. And remember, we're not doing every single play. If I did all 32 plays between both of them, we'd be here for like an hour and a half. And I'm not doing that. So let's go and get into the video, man. If y'all guys do enjoy this, be sure to like and subscribe for more. So let's go ahead and get into it. So if you weren't here for the first video, I'm going to go ahead and show you the grading scales and how they work. So on the left is the most important one, okay? It's the base grade. It's how the player performed in that certain rep, whether he won the rep, lost the rep, or if he executed his assignment but there was no significant impact on that assignment, then he gets a 0. And on the right side you see the modifiers, which gives each rep more nuance, because you can't just say he lost the rep and he didn't do anything good, okay? And if you watch the first video, a prime example is Dee Alford's fumble recovery, where he played his assignment true and he got a 0, but he recovered a fumble, so he got a +2 for their grade. So it's stuff like that where you may not have made a significant impact on your assignment, but you found a way to change the game negatively or positively. So we get into the final grades, and as you can see, like I said before, Billy Bowman Jr. did not have the game that Dee Alford had, and we saw 50 as an average, so both guys were above average, but Dee Alford was slightly better, and that's a very good improvement considering his first game was a 29, where he only played 7 snaps, so the grade was a little bit harsher considering each play had more weight than the next. But overall, Billy Bowman Jr. still has the edge on him because he had a 60 in the first game, which is pretty good for a rookie in his debut preseason game. But in this game, Dee Alford had a better game, so he makes a little bit closer, but there's still a lot of ground to make up. And so now we're about to get into the film, and like I said before, we're not doing every single clip up, because if we did, we'd be here for forever, and I'm not about to do that. It's about to be way too long. So I picked out some of the highlight plays, and I think you guys will enjoy this, so let's go on and get into it. All right, once again, we start with D first. So if you saw my other 2 videos on this game, then you will see some of these clips overlapping, but we just gonna talk about it anyways. So top of the screen right here, y'all saw it already. We're running shock, or not we, but the Titans, they're running shock, which is a stick route by the number 3. But if we get man to man, we're gonna just break that out. If he gets matched, you're gonna get a slot fade right here, where you're gonna push vertical, and then you're gonna get like right on the numbers, and you want the quarterback to really just throw it down like right outside the numbers. Okay, we're gonna throw this against, you know, press man cover 1, and you're gonna have a hitch on the outside to hold this corner, right? Top or bottom of the screen, we're gonna get a curl route by the number 1. This running back's check-in, he's gonna do a little sit route, and the way we're reading this is, if we get cover 1 press man, we're taking our shot right here. Okay, if we get any type of cover 3, where if we see this press man looking and everybody drops off, you're gonna hit your curl, or you're really gonna be reading curl to stick, in my opinion, because this is the free access throw, because we're gonna get bail right here, and you're gonna take that right now. Okay, but any too high coverages, we're probably gonna be working this stick route all the way. And if you have a one-on-one you like, you're gonna take this curl route every other day. So when we get to D and his rep, I really like it because this slot fade is a really timing based thing where you have to get this ball out early, okay? And really it's like a 3-step drop and then you go. So it's supposed to be catch 1, 2, 3, and then let that ball go. And Cam Ward is ready to throw it right now, right? But since D is playing outside leverage, he had to put this move on him to kind of get him to move and hesitate, and it threw it off just about a split second. And you can see Cam Moore, he took 1 too many hitches and he had to overcompensate. If we just look at him again right here, so catch, and that's the first hitch right there, second hitch right there, boom, now he's throwing it, and he has to overcompensate, and he ends up overthrowing it. And this is a very good rep because D threw off the timing, and also he's still right there in phase where if he turns around, I'm not saying he can make a play on the ball, but he can make a play on the receiver if he catches that ball, right? So good rep right here. I gave him a 2 because it was an elite win. He threw off the time, and he was also still well within, you know, shouting distance of making a play on the ball if it were to be a good pass. So right here is D on his blitz. So if we look at what's going on here, we look at the pressure pass. We're gonna get Rook trying to jump across this guard's face. Then we're gonna get him straight up penetrating this opposite A gap. Arnold Ebiketie doing his thing, right? And then you're gonna have James Pierce, who's kind of, in my opinion, he's tipping off what he's doing, right? Because look at his stance. That's not a normal stance for him. So he's gonna loop inside, try to get the attention of, you know, this tackle right here, and then you're gonna get Dee Alford on the slot blitz. And This is a typical 5-man pressure. And then so for the Titans in their protection scheme, they're doing a gap protection. So that means we're going to bring across the offensive lineman to protect, and we're going to have everybody else down block, right? Now, the purpose of this is, so he's just going to ride this guy up the field, right? And the purpose of this is to really get these linebackers to really bite on this, this run fake, which it actually happens, but it makes it a little bit harder for these offensive linemen and the quarterback to get a pass off, because you have to be able to quickly process what's going on, because guys like this, where they're just straight up getting upfield, they're probably going to be in a quarterback's lap really fast, okay? And so if we watch what happens, I gave him a 2 for this because he executed his job. I would say he won the rep, because even though let's just watch it, bro. Let's check it out. So motion comes through, and we're gonna see this gap protection take form. I say he did his job right here, where he's pushing him back just a little bit, and also James Pierce Jr. is coming free, right? And then he also tries to get off this block, which it looks like a pancake in my opinion, but D tries to disengage from him, and he ends up getting outside his frame, and he slip and fell, and it caused the hold. So this is a rep 1 in my opinion, because if you're able to draw a penalty on a blitz, like, you did your job, right? You mess up the offense in some type of way. You didn't get a sack, but you forced them back 10 yards, and I'll take that all day, every day, over just straight up getting a sack, because not only do you back them up, you make it harder. Now, a sack is a loss of downs, but still, stuff like this cannot go, understated. This is kind of new stuff to me right here. So if we just watch what's going on for the offense, they're doing a half field concept, which means you have 2 different concepts on each side of the field, but they're running something I really haven't seen before, where they're running a hitch seam concept, or a Haas concept, right here on the top of the screen. And what I mean by I've never seen this before is that this is usually a mirrored concept, which means you're gonna have hitch seam and then hitch seam right here, okay? But no, that's not what they do. They're gonna do a boat concept right here, where they have a little hitch route by the tight end, and then they dig by the number 1. He's gonna stay into block, and it's really just pick a side, right? Where if you got 1 high coverages, you're gonna go right here, and if you get 2 high, you're gonna go right here. And we also know that with this Haas concept, this can convert to a bender if we get 2 high, because if we check here first, right? We check here first because we see 1 high, but we see this safety actually rotate and get off, from in the middle of the field. You still have an answer versus that coverage, right? So it's good, but you can also go backside too. But typically you don't go from here to, now I gotta go all the way over here, because you're gonna be off rhythm, right? But defensively, what we're doing is we're doing a combo coverage, is what I would call it, but we're blitzing. So we're sending 5 guys. We're sending both off-ball linebackers. We're gonna drop Braylon Trice into this rat zone right here, where if it's like any slant or like little drag route, he's gonna get that. Then we're gonna be playing man on the back end, okay? And we have a free safety right here, play in the middle, and once again, everybody else is just manned up. So the reason why I say this is a bad rep on D is because, once again, we know we have this seam route right here, and we know we're in a 1 high defense, okay? And I'm not saying he knew the route was coming, but when you're getting, attacked vertically, you can't let the guy eat up your cushion that fast. And he just got left in the dust right here. And I can't sit up here and lie, like, even though there were times where he didn't get targeted, he got targeted a lot, by the way, but there were a lot of times where he was just playing catch up like this, and he wasn't even getting targeted. So if the pressure doesn't get home, or if, his first read isn't there immediately, then we're having a different conversation, where he's probably taking that shot on the touchdown. So gotta get better right here. Gotta be better technique wise, because that's a bad look, man. You can't have 2024, rearing this ugly head, because I know you don't want that to happen. But let's go and get into Billy Bowman Jr., man. So we're looking at Billy Bowman Jr. right here, and he's very smart as a player, and that's what I like about him. So we already know in the cover 6 portion of this, his responsibility is to deliver this guy to the safety, right? However, what he does is he takes an inside stem, and Billy Bowman Jr. doesn't really just fall for that. He doesn't get carried away by it, because guess what? This guy's gonna come and then do this kind of route right here, and you're gonna get a dig, and you're also gonna get a mirrored thing right here, where he's gonna do this, boom, and then stop right there, 2 chips, and get into the flat. And that's pretty much what we're getting right here. So if we just play it through, like I said before, he recognizes that inside stem, so he doesn't really follow it. So all he has to do is just keep expanding. And once he sees this guy start to turn, he starts to turn his hips too. We call this sail technique, right? Because usually what offenses try to do right here is that they will have, now let's just say somebody was on the outside right here. Say it was a number 1 right here, and he's running the post. Okay, he clears that out. You're gonna say this is number 2 right here. He's gonna be running that sail route. Okay, and usually guys will just kind of expand with their eyes towards the quarterback, and they really won't see where this guy is going. So we call the sail technique, where he's going to turn his hips and run with that, and then go down if the ball brings him down, right? Which means if they throw it flat, he's gonna go rally, right? So good job of using sail technique right here, and really just getting on that route, because guess what? If he just kept going, he's already in good position. But since he stops this down, he's able to he's in better position to play that route. Okay, and even though it's incomplete, he did a good job in this coverage rep, and I like it. All right, so we're in the next rep, and Billy Bowman Jr. gets an A+ or a 2 right here for me, because guess what? He's being an elite communicator, right? So we see this close split by the receivers right here, and you see he's getting his guys right. He's talking to them. So they were in man coverage right here. And usually when you see stacks like this, you always gonna, you're gonna banjo it, but he's just saying, hey man, just stay on your man, and we're gonna play it straight up, okay? And so they're gonna motion to this bunch, and keep in mind, I said pregame on the video I dropped earlier this week or last week, watch for those bunches, and guess what? They went into a bunch, okay? So what they're doing here offensively, they're doing a drive trail, which means they're gonna have a drive concept right here by, the number 1 and the number 2. And then you're going to get a trail route by the number 3, which is Billy Bowman Jr.'s man, right? Then you're going to get smashed on the front side by the number 1 and the running back. And so really just kind of like a full field concept where you're reading, corner, flat, drive concept, and then the trail route, right? Usually what we get sometimes, when we get the drive concept, we will have this guy, the number 3, usually he just kind of sit right here and pull any defender. That way this read is a bit easier. But no, they're gonna put him into the progression, and he's gonna be the trail route. And so like I said before, everybody's in man-to-man coverage. So if we just watch this play out, this is very good stuff by him. So everybody plays it well. Now he plays this assignment well, and you really can't stop Lamar Jackson from getting a defensive pass interference, which that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But we look at this coverage rep, man. Very good technique, keeping active feet, staying square with him, and once he makes that cut, he's right there with him in phase. And I like it, because I think, in my opinion, if this was D, he'd probably get a little bit mixed up, honestly. But good for him to stay right there, very, what's the word for it, discipline in his coverage, which it could have been a pick if he just threw it a little bit higher. Oh man, that could have been a pick, bro. But I think he was targeting his drag right anyway. So cool, good rep by Billy. All right, so these last 2 reps, they're more like, negative reps by Billy Bowman Jr. because nobody's perfect, right? So if we look at, what we're doing offensively, you're going to have an under route by the number 1 receiver. The number 3 is also going to be going under. You're going to have a dig by this opposite number 1, and then an arrow route by the running back. And Billy Bowman Jr.'s man is going to be running this corner route, okay? And so since we're in man coverage, this play is good. Every route is good versus this look, okay? So we get into Billy Bowman Jr.'s rep. I gave him a half a negative point. And the only reason I say a negative half point is because his initial coverage was fine, right? Where he's staying over top of it, but what he does wrong here, he loses at the top of the route, okay? He allows a separation. And the reason why he allows separation is because he let the receiver get back into his body, and he was able to, not push off, but, use that momentum to really separate himself from Billy Bowman Jr. Now, you would like him to initiate this a little bit more. That way he's able to stay with the route stride for stride. But I think one of the things is he plays so aggressive, but sometimes he can be very passive, where he let the receiver get into his body and then it kind of threw him off, right? That's a subtle trick that receivers do. They try to get into your body without pushing you, and it'll kind of throw you off, and he separated. So that's why he gets a negative half point, right? Not tripping because he didn't get targeted, but stuff like this, you will see in the film room, and you will get talked about for it. So that's all from this rep. All right, so the last rep I want to look at is another negative rep, like I said, by Billy Bowman Jr. So we're in man coverage, and the route progression is this. We have a fade right here by the number 1, going to have a out route by the number 2. Then on the backside, we're going to have another drive concept by the number 3 and the number 2 right here. Then we're going to also have an under route by the number 1. So once again, it's like a full field progression where we're just going to be reading 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get to your backside read. So the reason why I don't like this is because, once again, he was very just passive, and we know that's not his play style. So if we watch him, Instead of really just looking at his man, he's looking at the quarterback. And you want to say, well, if you're looking at the quarterback, then it's not man coverage. But if you look at this trip side, you know, it's definitely man coverage, right? Because usually if it's man cut, well, because usually we want to protect this middle linebacker, and he's playing man coverage on this guy from depth. He's playing man, and he's also playing man. He comes off of this because he throws it early, right? But I could also make this argument that they're in some kind of match coverage, because look at this. Once 2 goes out, because he does go out right here, this guy goes all the way to 1. So you could honestly say that it is some kind of pawns coverage right here, and they're, you know, playing something else on the backside. But I treat it as man coverage because guess what? Everybody else is playing man, so he's supposed to be in man right here. I don't know if it was a brain fart or not, but he gave up a catch right here. So something like this happens where we can't, you know, everybody's doing one thing, but he's doing his own thing, and I don't like that. So bad rep. Maybe he wasn't in man, but it looks like he was in man because everybody else was playing man. So bad rep right here, and it was a negative play in my opinion. Now it's good to see both guys had a good game, and honestly, I'm going to keep my stance where I think Dee's going to be the starter on week 1, but I think eventually Billy Bowman Jr. takes over as the full-time starter because he's just that good, and I'm not necessarily worried about him messing up his development or not coming along as people think, because he's a very good player. He's really smart, and he honestly has more instincts than Dee Alford. So not a knock on him because he wasn't bad in 2023. He had a very bad 2024, but this is how the league goes. They will replace you at the sign of any weakness. So I enjoyed this. If y'all guys did enjoy it, be sure to like and subscribe for more. See you guys later next video. Goodbye.